Hey, what's up everybody? This is Angry Hippie Lady, and got some important stuff to talk about today. Last night I recorded an episode, and pretty much I wasn't impressed with it, and it was a little long, so I decided that I was going to try recording this episode again, and so that is what we're doing right now. I had promised to get out a Forever Alone episode yesterday, and I got home from Beaufort around 6, and I was extremely tired. And so I started recording while I was tired, and for some reason I thought it would be a great idea to turn this into something a little bit different. Where's my sword? Oh my god, creeper! Oh my god, oh my god, bad place, badness. Okay, let's get on a more even ground, buddy. If I can get the skitty to shoot him. Oh well. Come here. Come here. Die. So I wanted to turn this into something a little bit different last night. Is there a skeleton spawner? Stop shooting me, buddy. I just want to be friends. And for some reason I started talking about some disorders. I want to go back to sleep now. I don't want to talk about this. And so, the stuff that I've been through. And we all go through different things. I mean, we all suffer from our own stuff. And my big thing is I'm always big into helping people that are going through things I've been through. And you know, I want to protect people. I don't want people to have to go through what I've been through. I mean, who wants to go through all the shit I've been through? I didn't even want to. So, my first topic that I talked about was, well, first, recently I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, and it's affected my, output a lot, because I've been watching too many, and haven't been paying attention to time, and then by the time it's time to record, people are talking to me, and honestly, I just sit down and talk to them and lose track of time again, and so I just don't get recordings done. And so the videos I've been watching have been about different disorders, and if you didn't know, I used to want to be a psychologist, specifically for psychotherapy, and psychotherapy can deal with any number of people, but my main focus would be anorexia, bulimia, and self-mutilation patients, stuff. And so those are the main things that I pay attention to when it comes to disorders, psychology. Whenever I look up something with psychology, it usually has to deal with one of those three things. If not, it's pretty darn close. So stuff like that. And the reason why I'm caving is because I can't really build and talk about this because I'll get sidetracked and what I need to say won't be said. So, how to deal with this stuff. And, I talked about anorexia. And the thing with eating disorders is people think that you have to be ultra skinny to have had. I hate the phone. I hate it so much. It's okay. There, that's better. The mic was a little off. People think you have to be shut up, phone. I think that was the fourth. That's the fourth ring. It's over now. Okay, so people have the misconception that if you have an eating disorder, you have to be like ultra skinny because, well, you have an eating disorder. Well, that's not, necessarily true. I've said multiple times, I'm a fluffy person. And I've been lighter, I've been heavier. I mean, I'm kind of in the in-between stage right now. So, I'm not ultra skinny. But yeah. But I still suffered from this. So the thing about I almost fell. The thing about anorexia is that it's a very silent disorder. People who have anorexia, oops, almost fell there. Don't talk about it. I know I was very, very hesitant about filming this, and especially refilming it, because only one person in my life knows about this, and even then it was a struggle to tell that person, and it's a struggle talking about it now. So if y'all hear a lot of awkward pauses and a lot of me just breathing, because that's about the only thing that calms you down when you're talking about this stuff. So the hardest part though is admitting that you're a disorder, and I've already done that, so half the battle is done. But I suffered from anorexia. I don't know how long it was. I didn't time it. I have lost track of time so much, and I don't remember a lot of my life. That's sad to say, but a lot of my childhood has been forgotten. I've repressed it to try and save myself some misery, and so yeah, I've kind of lost touch with some things. Time. But a lot of questions that people have when it comes to different disorders is, why would you do something like that to yourself? And honestly, looking back, you really don't have an idea. Did I finish this cave already? Did I go? Let's go search for another cave. Let's just go roam the landscape while I talk about this. You really, in hindsight, you have no idea why the hell you would do something like that. But I remember my reasons for starting. And, I guess that's what people are looking for when they ask why. Well, my dad was a bit abusive, and I don't blame him. But this is what it stemmed from. It was my choice to do what I did. It was not his fault at all for anything I did. It's nobody's fault for anything I did. What I did was of my own choice and of my own cause. And that's another thing. You have to learn to accept what you've done as something you've done, not as somebody else's fault. I need to get out of here. So that's definitely a big thing. And a lot of times you see people are like, oh, it's all this person's fault because they did this to me. Well, that's a problem right there. You just gotta learn to accept yourself. And that's a big that's a big thing. I know. So yeah, back to that. My dad was emotionally abusive towards me, and physically and emotionally abusive towards my mom and my sister. I have no idea what it was like for my brother. In my family, and before you ask why I don't know how things were for my brother, in my family, if you shared your emotions or talked about anything or cried or all that stuff, you were weak, or you were perceived as weak. So that's why I don't know how things were for my brother. So, and my brother and sister were living in the same house. My sister is a lot older than me. She's about 15 years older than me, and my brother's about 11 years older than me. So we lived in completely different houses, pretty much, even though it was the same house, same parents, and all that. So I had to deal with a lot of emotional stuff, and I'm trying to find my way home right now if y'all can't tell. But my sister admitted to me that she had actually suffered from anorexia. And the thing was, when she admitted that to me, I really wanted to tell her that I suffered from it too. But the thing is, when you're so consumed by this disorder, you don't want people to know, because if people know, then you've got to give it up. I know that's twisted, but when you're so taken by this thing, you don't want to give it up. Even though you know it's bad for you, and you know it's ruining your life, and it doesn't make any sense to people who are on the outside looking in. So, to give y'all an idea of what I dealt with, because some people live in amazing homes, and I am so happy for them, because, you know, kids deserve to live in a good home. So, I remember one time specifically, I was dealing with a lot emotionally through, it was either middle school or high school. It was at that transition age. And, hey. And I was, you know, being all girly and stuff. And my dad said, I can't remember the context, I just remember the words that he said. And, he said, well, if you It's only going to get worse as you get older, and if you can't deal with it now, you might as well kill yourself. So that's something I had to deal with a lot. What did I come over here for? Drop that off. Can I make some more bread? I sure can. That's good. So, another thing, the thing that I believe my eating disorder stemmed from was my father calling me fat. And let me get one thing straight before I get hate comments. Children need to know when things are getting a little out of control, because I mean, they just need to know. Because they don't think about that stuff. When I was little, I didn't think about being fat or being skinny or anything. Because kids are, that stuff just does not come into their mind. They're so pure. But an adult, especially a parent, when confronting a child about their weight, they shouldn't say, "Oh, you're fat. You've gotten fat." But parents do need to confront their children about eating and all that. And maybe suggesting more fruits and veggies, or suggesting better food. And the thing is, you can't just suggest it. You have to eat that good food too. You can't just say, "Here, eat this," and then go and eat a double quarter pounder or whatever McDonald's food is called. I don't even know what it's called. I don't eat McDonald's anymore. Haven't eaten there in a long time. So there's a right and a wrong way to confront somebody about their weight, especially your child. I want a cave. Come on. So just hold on to that before you say a mean comment, because I don't want to come over as I don't want things to come over wrong. So that was said multiple times, actually. It wasn't just said once. So yeah. And so I eventually stopped eating lunch, and that was just the beginning. After not eating lunch for a while, I wouldn't eat breakfast for a while. And the way I got away with it is my parents would give me $2 every day for school lunch, because that's how much a full lunch costs. And it was easy just to hold on to that and just save it. And people always wondered how I had so much money on hand, and that's how I would save my lunch money bit by bit, and I wouldn't spend it. And then I would also get an allowance. But I eventually stopped eating breakfast. And the way I got around that with my mother is I told her that I would eat a big lunch at school. I would, and then I would even come home and tell them that I was so full from lunch that I couldn't eat dinner. I got away with it. It was too easy. So easy that I kept doing it. And I doubt any parents watch this. I doubt any parents will watch this. But when you're not seeing your kid eat, that's not a good thing. With anorexia, you don't want to eat in front of people at all. Same thing with bulimia. I did not deal with bulimia. I had thoughts of bulimia, but I never did that. So I can't really speak from experience with bulimia. Oh, there's a freaking cave on this whole entire place. I found the only cave on this island. So if you're a parent, just pay attention, really, because as a parent, parents don't want to think that their kids are suffering. And kids don't want to tell their parents that they're suffering because we don't want to hurt our parents. We want to protect our parents from ourselves. And that's a big mistake. Because what we're actually doing is hurting ourselves. So, I'm just going to dig down right here. I know it's not the most interesting video, but I felt like talking about this today, so we're going to do this. Could I at least make a shovel? I can make a stone shovel. I don't have any iron. Actually, I do have some iron. But a big thing is just, if you don't see your kids eat, there's a problem. If you're... there's just so many warning signs. But parents don't want to see them because they don't want to think that their child is dealing with that kind of stuff. So, I got away with it. Got away with it too easy. And didn't have to worry about any consequences or anything like that. Well, at least I didn't think I did. I had to deal with consequences. But I did eventually get caught, per se, but it was never dealt with. My mom looked in my book bag one day because she needed something that I had in my book bag, and I was like, oh, I'll just go in there and get it. Well, I had about $30–40 in saved up lunch money in my backpack, and she wanted to know why I had so many $1 bills in my backpack. And so I told her that I just hadn't been eating lunch for a while. And that was that. That was the whole confrontation. And nothing was done. So once again, I got away with it. I'm sorry. Every once in a while I just have to stop, think about what I've just said. Because this is only the second time I've admitted it to people. So I dealt with that for, it was probably a couple years. It's probably around the same time I dealt with the other stuff, which will come up in other episodes. And another question, well, that was the reason why I started. And as to why you do this to yourself, it's because you just don't have the coping skills. I was never taught how to cope. And some people, and those are great people, they just automatically know how to cope. That's great. Absolutely amazing. Those people are very strong-willed people. And I love people like that. Because they're so unlikely to be affected by any of this stuff. That's just amazing. But I never learned how to cope. I didn't learn how to cope through any of this. So I just did what I did. And some people might ask, well, how didn't your mother notice, or how didn't your father notice even, that you were losing weight? Well, this is where the bulimic thoughts came. If I hadn't have stopped doing what I was doing, I would have become bulimic. I was already on the binging cycle. One day I would not eat. I would not eat for actually a couple days. And then I would binge. Just binge and binge and binge and binge and binge. And so whatever weight I had lost while not eating, I had gained back while binging. Well, bulimia is binging and purging. And there are some days that I remember standing in the bathroom thinking, I need to get rid of this. As in what I've eaten. And so if I hadn't have stopped, I would have continued on and I would have become bulimic and it would have gotten 10 times worse. But for some reason, I stopped. I don't remember why. The first time I ever told anybody, it was about a year after I had stopped. Maybe 2 years. So I stopped on my own. I never had any kind of help with anything I had done, any of my disorders or anything. I've never gone to a therapist at all. I've never talked to anybody about my problems. So I've been completely alone in this whole ordeal. This whole ordeal of life. It's kind of funny since I'm talking about it in Forever Alone. But I hope my breathing's not too loud when I do that. Just need to keep talking. Oh, good. I got it down on the last one. That was a lot of good. So it was a struggle. It wasn't easy at all to quit. Because you still have the thoughts, and you still have that. Tracy, chill out. You still have that mind process. Thought process, I'm sorry. So you still have to deal with those thoughts, and they're not easy to get rid of, really, at all. So that was something that I had to deal with, even more so, and once again on my own, all alone. And I don't suggest, if anybody is going through this that's watching this, I don't suggest you do this on your own. Because that's the thing with anorexia. Silence. The more silent you are, the worse it's going to be. Because if you're silent, or if you don't have any connection to anybody, you're just going to keep doing it. And keep doing it. You're going to keep going. It's going to get worse. And it's never going to stop. Trust me. It's never going to stop. You know, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but it really won't. There's no stopping it if you're all by yourself. I don't know how I did. So if you say, well, you stopped it, I don't know how. I don't remember why I stopped. I don't remember it. And it's easier when you're talking to somebody about all this. So that was my why and how you could do something like this to yourself. There's other questions I could cover. But probably going to be ending this episode soon. Just because I need some time to sit down. Well, I'm sitting down right now. And actually I'm going to be recording another episode right after this one. And it's going to be on something else I want to talk about. And eventually, I hope to talk about everything. Just remember, even if you haven't gone through any of this stuff, just remember that there's people every day who go through this stuff, and they're silent. So, you might say, well, I've never met anybody who's had any of these problems. Chances are you have. Chances are, one of your friends might be going through this disorder. But it's silent. And you might never know. You might see them losing weight really fast. And might think, oh wow, they're doing really good on their exercise and their weight loss. And the thing is, you might need to be worried, because if it's rapid weight loss is not good. Usually that means, ooh, interesting stuff. Usually that means that something bad is happening. Or is going to happen. So, if you think, oh, well, this doesn't apply to me, it might. It might not, though. You're right. It might not apply to you at all. So I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. If y'all have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. I've answered quite a few questions in person with the person I've talked to. And I'm always willing to answer questions, because people don't really understand this disorder. And to be quite honest, I don't understand it a lot either. That's why I still do psychology stuff, because it's hard to understand. So if you have any questions, you can send me a inbox message, and I won't reveal your name or anything, but I will answer your question in one of my videos, whether it be JMM or this one. And I can send you a link to that video so you don't miss your answer. Or you can just leave a comment and I'll answer that in the video also. So, I know digging a mine shaft and caving isn't very interesting, but for the next couple episodes, that's what this is going to be, while I talk about some psychological disorders and other things. So, thank you all for watching. I am Angry Hippie Lady. Peace out.